Good morning.
Good morning. How
It's
are
not,
you?
I'm good. It's not morning. I don't know why I said
Afternoon.
that. Yeah.
Afternoon for you, morning for me.
There you go.
Cute shirt.
There you go. Thank you. Yours is cute too.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Cody got it for me for my birthday.
Oh, nice. I got this for myself at Target.
Sweet.
Very cute
High
though.
five.
I like your hair in a ponytail. It's adorbs.
Yeah, I thought that since I've never had my hair up, I should probably have my hair up
It's cute.
for a podcast. Yeah. Yes. Welcome back to the Little White Picket Fence.
Good
Get
job.
that out of the way really fast.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. Did you have
How's
a
your
good day at
week
work?
been?
Or good day. Good work. It's going to be a good one for me talking wise.
Me too. I had a
what
good
it's
week
gonna
at work. And that's
Did you?
Yeah, I'm so glad I did.
That is so good. I am so glad.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
How was your week though?
It was good. It was good. Just trying to finish out the whole school year. Got 1 month left.
Up until grandma broke her arm.
Up until Cody's grandma broke her arm. That was not fun.
Yeah, yeah. You just kind of said that in passing, like, oh well, and she broke her arm. I'm gonna help her. But I didn't get any details, so
No, she woke up in the morning and she stood up and she got a little dizzy and
oh,
tried to make it back to the bed and didn't quite make it.
bummer.
Broke her humerus, which wasn't very humorous. Ha. Anyway, that's the worst. I'm sorry. But luckily we live close enough where we can kind of keep an eye on her.
Yeah,
So.
no. Excellent. How old is she?
That is a good question. Cody could tell you like to the minute, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think I'm pretty bad with ages of
80-ish.
my own parents, as bad as that is. Granted, there are 10 kids in my family and my parents, and I remember a lot of people's information. So the fact that some of them I draw blanks on, I give myself a little, I don't know, but really I'm a horrible person and I don't even know exactly. I could tell you approximately, but I never
Let's
remember.
be honest. There have been ages where I've had to like, okay, I was born in 82, so carry the one. Like,
how old am I?
Yeah, like
I've done it.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the 80 range is where his grandma is.
Okay, 80s. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
but she's doing really well. She's tough.
No good stuff, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Cody came from her. He's a pretty burly man.
Burly man.
See what I did
what you did there. Absolutely.
Okay. So we had discussed doing true crime, and you were like, should I do anything? I'm like, oh no, I got this. And I'm really stretching the true crime thing, because really what happened is I came across a story a couple days ago that got me all excited, and I wanted to like make it work into this, because I was like, so this is kind of a true crime, and now I don't know, I'm a little in a tizzy about it. So I was like, well, I'll just tell Emily this story like it's a true crime, because
absolutely.
Okay, so I found this story on Veritasium. It's a YouTube channel. You ever watch that?
No.
It's like a science YouTube channel. Really awesome. You should check it out. It's called Veritasium. Okay.
Got it.
So this true crime that we're going to talk about is about a scientist, one single scientist inventor who's responsible for killing millions, including himself.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Okay.
So that's
I was going to bring like popcorn to sit here, but I didn't want people to hear me chewing. So pretend I have my popcorn and I'm interested. Let's hear all about it.
Okay. So there's probably gonna be a lot of looking down, because I made like notes, because I'm like, it was a very long video and it's very involved, and I'm really like
details, and
I'm breaking it down to like I'm gonna put the link to the actual thing in the description. So go watch it, and then anybody that go watch it, because he breaks down like the science and stuff like that. And so but I'm just kind of telling the story, and and I really have to look at my notes or I don't know what I'm talking about. And
heaven forbid you should have to read.
I know. Okay. Anyways, okay. So Thomas Midgley, his inventions decreased the average intelligence overall, increased the crime rates overall and caused environmental disasters that we are still dealing with today. So keep that in mind. That's what this man.
I've had like dreams that this is how my scientific career ends up. Like,
you have a
she killed
scientific career?
thousands. No, that's why. Is because
something would go terribly wrong.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would be the inventor of the end of the world.
Why?
I don't know. Just okay. Sorry.
That's
keep
just
going.
how you imagine things going.
Yeah.
It always
yeah.
goes. It's always
I was
a little
just trying
comical.
to make slime.
Damn it. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna start with there's this guy named Charles Kettering, and he worked for Cadillac. He created the first self-starting car. It was a Cadillac Model 30. It was way more powerful, and made it so they started selling a lot more cars, but the engines had a loud, like, deafening knocking sound, and so it was, I don't know, it was a hindrance because it was so loud, and it caused damage to the engine and stuff like that, I guess, and like decreased the life of it. So this guy, Charles Kettering, hired Thomas Midgley, our scientist,
Kettering and Midgley,
who we're telling a true crime story about today.
Okay.
So yeah, so Thomas Midgley, he was 27. He was hired to find an additive to add to the gasoline to make the knocking stop. Yes.
Okay.
So sorry, I had to change my page. Hold on. I've never done this before. You know who I wanted to like model it after Bailey Sarian, because the way she like,
I love her.
I can't. I mean, it was 2 days ago that I even learned about this, so I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should have like pushed it out, but I'm just excited about it. So
no, I can't even string sentences together and trying to do makeup while you tell a story. Like, she does a really good job. I thought of having like Sarah come in and draw me a sleeve while we're doing this, but
yeah,
I did
and
not.
I'll have Bella do mine at the same time, and at the end we'll show them to each other because Bella does it too. That'd be fun.
Hey, sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
That's next podcast. Or
well,
one of the
in the
next
summer,
ones.
Yeah, because school will be out soon, and then they'll be home on a Friday, and it'll be easy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, and I interrupt your story. So we have Kettering and we have Midgley. Midgley is the scientist.
Yes, and
okay,
Midgley's hired to create an additive to decrease the knocking and increase the, just make everything better.
As one does when one's a scientist.
Yeah. So he takes 5 years experimenting, and along the way, he finds something that works and is cheap, but it smells so bad that he gets like, his wife literally kicks him out of their room for like 7 months. Like it's a smell that can't go away. So he was like this would work, but the public wouldn't, like it wouldn't.
Fog of eternal stench.
Yeah. Like, people couldn't get used to this smell. It's not a smell people could just be like okay with. And then he found an additive that was, I believe it was ethanol, like alcohol, whatever. But you would need a lot of it, and it just wasn't really economical or anything. So 5 years down the road, he finds, it's in 1921, he finds tetraethyl lead as the additive. So he's the creator of the leaded gasoline, essentially.
Oh,
yeah. So he's who is, because it was cheap and it was readily available, and because, like they said, the alcohol, the ethanol was just too expensive. So he was awarded for this, and like everything was a big to do, and they would even want him to come do like speaking engagements and stuff like that, but he wouldn't. Like, he didn't want it to be a big deal or something. But he teamed up with 3 of America's largest corporations, General Motors, DuPont, and Standard Oil of New Jersey, and formed the Ethyl Corporation. And you'll notice they, ethanol, they just said ethyl, and they had no mention of lead. So you could let your mind go where it's going to go. I think they did that intentionally.
I've heard of DuPont in many ways, so I'm wondering. Yeah. So we could do several podcasts on DuPont. Anyway, keep going.
Really? Yeah, you'd have to teach me something, because I don't even know where you're going with that. But
okay.
Okay.
I'll make a note for myself.
The DuPont makes me think of like racing and stuff like that. Yes, no.
Yeah, they do, right? They sponsor racing. They do carpets and Teflon, and
Okay.
the one I'm thinking is Teflon because that's a horrible story. But anyway,
Oh yeah,
keep
no,
going.
now I need that. Okay, but it racing made me so 1923 Indianapolis 500. The top 3 finishers were using ethyl. So obviously then it took off and everybody needed to have ethyl, in their gasoline. And during like early production of it, like wherever it was being produced, people started feeling like falling ill. And I think it was 5 people that actually died. And so there was kind of a little bit of a stink about it.
As happens when people die.
Yeah. Like it
of weird things.
But it didn't stop their thing of it. So this is when right after that, the creator of it, sorry, let me get his name again, Thomas Midgley. I told you he wasn't really showing up for speaking engagements and stuff like that. But then after these people fell ill at the factory that was creating it, and some people died, he did a public appearance where he like inhaled it for a minute straight and, did all these things to prove that it was safe. But he had already had lead poisoning, which was why he'd been in Florida staying away from the company altogether, because he had already fallen ill and just flat out lied to because profits over people, basically. So that's another great thing about him.
I always get so angry at the companies that, for the ones that don't know what they're doing and accidentally, like, hey, we didn't know our product did this. That's one thing, but to willingly know that you're killing people and making people sick, and you're like, well,
yeah,
oh well.
And it was known then, because obviously things were happening, and he, struggling himself, said no to the public, like, no, that's not, this is fine. They wanted him to think it was, that everything was fine. It says on here that the brain is the most sensitive to lead because it causes like permanent learning disabilities and behavioral problems in kids. Yeah. And I gotta find, there was this one quote that really pissed me off. This was a quote from the president of Standard Oil, Frank Howard. It said, "We do not feel justified in giving up what has come to the industry like a gift from heaven on the possibility that a hazard may be involved in it." The possibility, like everybody knew that a lot of lead was bad, but thought like a little, how much harm could it do?
But then when you see it doing harm.
Yeah. Like, so the dangers of lead had already been known for hundreds of years, though, because we have on record. So this is a quote from Benjamin Franklin in 1786. So this is not, lead had already been,
it's not new.
Yeah, lead was already known to be bad. They're trying to say, oh, no, it's naturally occurring. And they, that whole argument, how people do that even still today with certain things. But yeah, so Benjamin Franklin, he said that lead had been used for far too long, considering its known toxicity. And he said, and I thought this was really, I don't know, is one of those like, whoa, because it makes you think. Says, "You will observe with concern how long a useful truth may be known and exist before it is generally received and practiced on." Like we know it, but for some reason we just don't do anything to change it.
Do anything about it.
I mean? Yeah. And
yeah.
And
then a lot of that comes from not knowing how.
Yeah.
For the general population, and unwillingness for those who are making money off of it.
Which is why I felt like I needed to like tell the story and talk about it, because I'm like, I feel like like not like we have a bunch of people watching, but even if just your mom is then like, oh hey, thinking about this and saying it to somebody,
maybe you can do something about
it. Could you get on this, Lisa? And then say something. I don't know, because like it like there's got to be something that can be done. We could all actually think about it instead of just mind-numbingly like doing life the way we're supposed to do it, because that's the way we're supposed to do it. And all this. Anyways, let me continue, because I don't want to get on my soapbox. Okay, so anyways, even after the fact that he said that in 1786, 150 years later, scientists added lead to fuel,
which pumps out into the air that we all breathe.
Yeah. So
thanks, guys.
it said that doctors, public health officials from MIT, Harvard, Yale, and the U.S. Health wrote Midgley and warned against producing the lead, and they just completely dismissed their concerns. Like I said, they were telling the public that it was a naturally occurring thing, and so it was completely fine, blah blah blah. But everybody obviously knew it wasn't. Yep. Anyways, so let me see here. Okay, so the way that we found this out, like we knew it was bad, but nobody was like studying the side effects as they were going, you know what I mean? So there's this scientist, whose name is Patterson. His last name is Patterson. I just can't. Okay, we're gonna know Patterson.
Senor Patterson.
Senor Patterson was a scientist who was awesome. Okay, so he was doing something with
one of the good guys.
Yeah, so he was in school and like he worked on building the first nuclear bomb or whatever, or something like that. Just out of school as a student, and then he went back to school to get his I think it was his PhD or something, and he was doing a study where they were calculating the age of the Earth. That's what they were trying to do, was find the age of the Earth. And I think they were studying meteorites or the Earth or something. I don't remember at this point in time, but he was tasked with measuring the amount of lead, and there were other aspects to it that somebody else was tasked with. And the other guy's findings for the other component of this, go watch the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. All of his numbers were coming up as expected, but Patterson's were way higher than expected for lead. And so it really got his mind moving, and like it became his focus, like, where is this coming from? And he did a number of different things to like set up experiments and study by like studying the ocean water, because like where, as far as how much lead they found at different levels, like closer to the top indicates like what time frame within history like that lead was in the atmosphere. And he was finding that stuff was fairly recent, like the really heavy stuff was fairly recent. And I guess there's this place at like in the Antarctic or something, I don't know, it's like very cold, where they measure, and it was something like that, like lead or these contaminants throughout history. And
in the ice rings,
I think so.
Layers.
So they it was like there were times when it, like during like certain times when they were making metal swords, or you know what I mean, like there were little dips and stuff like that. But then you come to the Industrial Revolution and it, just peaks. Really takes off. But through all of these things is pretty much how he found that there was literally no just that how much harm had been done by them knowingly putting lead in, and that it was still causing things. I think it said that people born between, here it is, the 1970s and that wasn't it. It was like 1951 to like 1980. Those are the people who were the most like susceptible to those highest ranges of. So who even knows, like on a broad scale, because it's not something you could really, like they did measure because they could see increases in crime rate, increases in disabilities, like mental you know what I mean? And the craziest part is this was a 2020 study, or like a kind of a more recent 2020, 1 in 3 children globally has over 800 million children have blood level at or above 5 micrograms per deciliter, and there is no like safe amount of lead, apparently. Like there's no good amount. And a lot of that's due to batteries, I guess, and industrial processes, which so apparently we still are allowing it in certain. And the craziest part, and I was hoping that this wouldn't apply to you, is that the other thing that still uses the lead-based gas is prop planes.
Oh, really?
Is that what you guys have there?
So I have not researched it. All I know is that's
piston-driven airplane engines. So if they're piston-driven,
really,
then they're using leaded gasoline, and you might not be dying right away, but you're definitely lowering quality of life and stuff like that.
Well, if the planes that my son was working on have this, that would definitely be something that I need to know, because
Yeah, right. Well, and
yeah, absolutely.
with this, okay, so here I do have a little more on this guy. So he did that. He did the
Okay.
lead thing,
Yes.
and not only does it cause, all those other things, but they also have links. It also causes a hardening of the arteries. And
Oh, great.
so a 2018 study showed that over 250,000 deaths were linked to lead poisoning,
Oh, great.
just from whatever way people are getting it through the environment.
And
And
probably more than that we just don't realize too. But
yeah, and they knew it was toxic. He knew it firsthand and just put profits over people. And I just don't.
that makes no sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
but to somebody it does. So I'm like, why
yeah,
can't we? I'm like, I don't know.
we need to put things in place to. But the
Okay,
problem is they use the profits to
yeah.
put themselves in
So
positions
to
of power.
make it even better, this guy Thomas Midgley in 1928. So GM, they make cars. They also have like refrigerators and stuff like that. So in 1928, they hired Midgley to make a refrigerant that was non-toxic or non-flammable, and that is when he invented Freon.
Oh, he
And
did that too, huh?
yeah, he did. It said he inhaled the gas and blew out a candle to prove that it was safe. So obviously, it didn't, I guess, hurt him in that way. I don't know. We don't.
Because he could blow out a candle.
Well, and it didn't explode, or what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah,
I got it. I got you.
Exposing the gas to that. It became really popular though, only to find out that it builded up. It done did build it up in the atmosphere. And
Done did build up.
yeah, and something with the rays, I don't know all the technical, but the way that it broke down, it created the hole in the ozone layer. All the talk about that was caused by Freon, also invented by Thomas Midgley.
Great. He's just a stand-up citizen.
Well, and I don't think, I mean, no, he obviously he wasn't great, but I don't think he ever did anything with the intention of killing people, but obviously didn't mind harming people, which is
yeah.
People,
there's a certain I hate the people that are like, there's a certain amount of the population that's okay to lose. Like, come on.
They're still people. They're still humans.
Yeah.
Like you're putting yourself above them that it's okay to lose them. No, like people are going to die on their own. We don't need that. Like, and people are also making decisions to have less kids and not just overrun the population for workers. So, we'll even out in
eventually
on our own. We don't need to be taken out.
Well,
let us use our brains. We'll do it for ourselves.
Yeah. The story about DuPont is kind of similar, where they use chemicals in making Teflon.
Okay.
That were the waste of that was dumped, and the problems that caused first for like livestock. They noticed cows behaving strangely and growing tumors and dying, and then it started happening in the population of the people around, and how hard they thought to be like, oh, that's not us. It's not us. When super clearly it was.
Yeah.
And have you also seen the movie or read the story anyway about the women who used to paint the clocks in the early 1900s?
No, tell me.
They came out with glow in the dark paint.
Okay.
And so these girls would paint the glow in the dark paint on the clock numbers so people could see them in the dark.
Nice.
And in order to get the fine tip, they would like lick the thing and then paint the numbers, and they all started getting cancer. Like vast numbers of these girls were dying.
Yeah.
And how they're like, no, it's not toxic. It's
so throughout history it happens because
all over.
Well, and it's like we want to think we're super evolved as humans. And I look at what's going on in the world right now and the way people can treat each other. And I'm like, no, we're pretty fucking animalistic. Yeah. Like it feels like.
Well, and it feels like people what?
I don't know. I like they're crazy. Like they don't have access to part of their brain that tells them, I don't know, to just like think for a second and remember, like, we're all human. You're literally above nobody. You have money, you have power from a made-up thing. We're all flying through space on a big flying rock. You're more entitled to quality of life than anybody else just because of where
you're but not much separates you from anybody.
Yeah. But I know they don't think that way, and I doubt me saying,
No.
It's not like.
Well, and I think the panic sets in when you have this like multi-million-dollar corporation and lots of people counting on you and everybody's profiting off of this, and you're going to have a lot of people pissed off at you. I'm not saying this is like a reason at all.
No, I know.
But yeah, that panic must set in, and it must suck really bad to think you have this awesome product and to find out that you need to stop it immediately.
Yeah. But if everybody were so focused on money, and then like if everybody wasn't so like your life would be over if you lost it, and you could just be like, whoa, this isn't working. Let's find something that works. And it wasn't the end of your career because money didn't like decide your value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we could do things because it's the right thing to do and not be. I don't know either. I have no idea. I never have the answers. I only have complaints, Emily,
Well, we put it out there so that somebody smarter than us.
Or just because if we keep talking about it, like I'm constantly thinking about things I can do, like, and I'm mad at myself for like not taking more actions in my daily life, because not only like lead poisoning and stuff like that, there's all these different things that we allow, like the food that we eat, knowing that there are certain aspects of our food that are completely like not allowed in other countries, in other civilized countries. Like they've completely banned them because they're known to cause all kinds of things, but instead we're just the most medicated country. Like most of the patients I see, and I live in an elderly type community, so I know they're all older, but still we're on like high blood pressure meds, like we're just doing stuff that's harming us and then medicating away, that instead of just thinking more about what we're doing and what we're putting in our bodies. And I get mad at myself for not doing better. But also, where do you find the freaking time to do, I don't know.
Yeah. You have to pick and choose what your main causes are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it sucks because I want to do everything.
So you can drive yourself crazy.
You really can. I really do, obviously.
Okay, I do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so so Thomas Midgley met his demise in 1951, and it wasn't his lead poisoning that killed him.
Really?
Although he did have lead poisoning. He got polio and was disabled, and he invented yet another thing, and that was
karma.
It was a contraption for his bed that was like a pulley system that he created to help himself get up. And unfortunately, he got tangled in that one day, getting strangled, and that's how he died. So he invented
maybe
three inventions. This was like the title of the thing. It was like 3 inventions that a man like that created that killed millions of people and himself, because his 3rd invention killed him. Yeah.
What a way to go.
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty. When he said it in the video, I was like, whoa, that came out of like, I didn't expect that, but all right. All right. So
yeah, if I rewind this and see my eyes, it's probably like
yeah.
Whoa.
So Patterson, which I have to find this guy's first name. Claire Patterson. There we go.
Oh, that would not be the one I would have guessed.
No, Claire Patterson is the guy who like let us know, taught us that lead was unnatural, and that, how much damage it had done.
Your body does not like it.
Yeah. And then Japan was the first to ban leaded fuel in 1986.
Go Japan.
And then Algeria was the last in 2021. But like I said, leaded fuel is still used in piston-driven airplanes. And then we get lead contaminants from batteries and industrial, whatever. I don't even know. Yeah, it's almost like, it's like, I know I said it before, the whole like not all progress is progress. Like just because we can have things so fast and so easy doesn't always mean we should, because like quality of life is, you're giving up one other type of quality of life for, I don't know.
Absolutely.
I just hope we keep talking and like learning and changing as a people for like, I don't know, like our kids. I don't think are going to stand for this shit as much, and stuff is going to change, I hope.
Well, and I'd really like to leave my kids with a world that's better off than when I got here,
Yeah, right.
So
So I know this is funny because we don't have any type of sponsors or anything, but that Veritasium video that I think is so important and so good was it was whatever that word was. What did I just say? It was
Sponsored.
There we go. Sponsored by a company called Wren, WREN, and it's it's an organization taking action on climate change. It funds projects for like protecting our Earth. So I'm gonna put that link in the description too. I was gonna check it out. So it's like, I don't know. We need more like information like this. That's easy. I felt like it was pretty easy to digest, but like super informational. And I think so many of his videos are like that for me. You should definitely check them out.
Okay.
I absolutely will. If you like watching like the History Channel and stuff like that, which I think anybody can, well, if you haven't done it, you should like just start watching. So you'll get sucked in. Like even if you think this is so stupid, you'll get sucked in. All of a sudden you're watching something about dung beetles. And it's interesting.
Maybe I should study dung beetles.
Okay. So all of this stuff with the lead and stuff, I know I kind of talked about like our food, how it's bad. Another thing that I'm trying to work on is like using less plastic. And the main reason is that like we know that there's microplastics and stuff like that. We've seen studies or whatever and hear people talking about it. And that it's bad for us. But there was a TikTok I saw of this guy who, it was like one of those like, what's something you learned in your industry that you think everybody should know, or one of those type of things. And it was this kid who was like, I work for a plastic, like some sort of plastic company. And he went to a function at one of the higher ups' homes, and he brought a dish in a plastic thing. And the guy was like, "Get that out of here! Like, no, we don't use plastic in any way. Like, no."
Like he worked for a company that made plastic, and they're like, "No way."
Exactly, and they made him put it out. Like they didn't even serve his dish. And he was like, and since then I've started cutting back because I don't know why. But obviously, if a higher up, that exactly. Well, we know microplastics are bad, but what else is bad about it? And these are only things that we'll find out later when the next Claire Patterson looks and says, "Oh, hey, here's another thing that." So I don't know. I mean, hindsight's 2020, and obviously, I don't think people are making things with the intention of like mass murder, but also like I think
people may have information they're not sharing.
Well, they take so many shortcuts and make things just so that they can make more money while poisoning people, literally, with our food, with like chemicals. And it's like, we don't really need that. If we could like,
there's other ways.
Like there's just there's got to be other better ways. No.
For reals.
So yeah, this is our true crime story today.
True crime.
Yeah, I did actually
go chuck on my plastic and
yeah, right. No, see, and I haven't done that yet because I'm like, I also don't want to just buy, like, I don't want to keep buying and consuming because there's already too much stuff. So I'm like, since I have it, I want to use it, but I don't buy new as much as I can. You know what I mean? Like, and my kiddos hate it. We don't buy bottled water, and I haven't bought bottled water for a couple of years because we use reusable bottles. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy that because I'm like, I know me personally, I'm not gonna like stop it from polluting the earth, but if there's something it's doing that's harming us, I can at least keep us away from that. Because I don't know, why else would that guy not allow plastic in his home?
Yeah, it definitely makes you wonder.
Yeah. Let me see, what else do I have here? Oh, so I when I was doing like looking this up, my daughter Haley came in and she was like, "Oh, if you're talking about that, you should talk about emerald green. Have you heard about emerald green?"
Other than just the color, no.
Well, it was a paint, or it was Paris green. It was developed in 19th century, and then commercially available in 1840. And it was poisonous. It contained arsenic, making it highly toxic. Yeah. And not only was it used in artist paints, but because it was, I guess, inexpensive, easy to manufacture, it was in household paints, wallpapers, and fabric dyes. And it was one of those things that I guess that was known to be bad for a very long time. And then it didn't really even go out of production until the mid 20th century. From the 1800s. Like, so just another one of those where like, why?
Well, I know that women used to put arsenic in their makeup or at least the makeup companies did. And so that's why a lot of the women in the early 1900s, maybe even 1800s, have like further back hairlines in all the pictures, because
Right.
it would,
I wonder
was killing them.
I wonder when it was known that it was killing
I don't
them
know.
before. Yeah, like
Before they stopped.
Yeah, that one quote by Benjamin Franklin about the whole, you'd be surprised how long something's commonly known before it's, I'm like, that's so true. And what in the world can we do to change that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Emily, give me an answer.
Okay, well, let me think for 2 minutes. No, I don't know. There's a lot of things we do that are slowly killing ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's why there's more of a push for like natural energy resources and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you hear Elon Musk talk about the amount of gasoline that we use that pumps into the air, he's like, we're just breathing that. Like that's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And it can't be good. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Seriously.
We all think we're just doing a little bit, but there's a lot of us on this planet. And if we're all pumping crap into the air, and anyway.
And we're not. I mean, we all are in a way with our cars, but I don't think cars are the biggest issue either. I'm pretty sure airplanes, unfortunately, are a pretty big problem with pollution.
Corporations.
And I remember I saw a thing about there was some sort of an environmental like function where like a bunch of people came together for it, and there were some huge amount of private jets that came to it, and it was like, nope, you like, it was the you failed before you even got there. Like you don't care about the climate. There's that you care about your, nothing that you could do, but you're like, what can we change? What maybe that's why they
make this a Zoom call.
Right.
Like yeah, for reals. That was I don't know what the name of it was, but it was for climate change. It was people meeting together to discuss climate change, and they all came in these giant jets.
Yeah.
So
well, private jets, maybe one giant jet would have been better.
That's true. That's true. That is pretty humorous though.
Yeah. So I did kind of like find a true crime story that I was like, because you've probably even heard about it. I think people have been talking about it recently. It's about these sisters who would like seduce Nazis, kill them.
No,
like
go
teenage sisters. Well, I kind of was looking into them, so I don't know if I should save it for like another time, and we should do an actual true crime thing.
Maybe we'll do like true crime like once a month, and then we'll have our daughters do the sleep thing and make it a thing.
Sounds good.
I know several also.
Yeah. So I don't know several, so you can tell more than me, that's for sure. I just found this one. I've been looking up stuff, and I thought it was pretty, I don't know, crazy.
Well, the ones I know are probably like commonly known ones that people are like, I've heard that 8 times and this was not the best one. But
well, I don't know, but I will know it, and you're telling me.
Okay.
So yeah.
We could also do like true crime mini stories that we've seen in our own lives. Like the one
example.
Okay, the one that comes to mind for me is when my little sister was in the 5th grade.
Okay.
And she was with her friend that was also in the 5th grade, and her like 5-year-old little sister.
Mm-hmm.
And after school, they went to the friend's house, and the mom was at work. And long story short, they went in the house because somebody snagged her little earring, and they were cleaning it up, and the doorknob starts turning. And it being, 5th grade little girls, they get a little freaked out, and they go hide under the bed, and they hear someone come in the house, and they hear them go downstairs. So as soon as they go downstairs, these little 5th grade girls and a little 5-year-old booked it out of the house, and they ran all the way to my house. And they're like, we heard somebody in our house. Someone was in the house. And we're like, no, you didn't. Like, you're kids. You're just hearing stuff, but you can stay here and no worries. Yeah. And so we called their mom at work, and we said, hey, they're over here. They're a little scared. And she went home, and their house had been robbed.
Oh, no. Well,
there's your true crime for today. And if Maggie, if you hear this, you'll have to tell us and give us more details. But anyways,
true crime
pretty crazy
in Utah.
Did they catch? We need a
Did they catch the robber?
They did not. They did not. So we could have helped solve this crime if we'd have paid attention to the small children. But we're like, nah.
Nah. You guys are being ridiculous.
Yeah, we've all been there. I'm hearing noises.
Yeah, we were the most ridiculous in college. Oh my God.
I think I instigated that because I was so paranoid.
And I think I instigated it. I think we definitely fueled each other's paranoia.
Probably. But you know what I do now? I was just talking to my son about this morning.
What?
Was like when my youngest would get scared, he's like, I'm scared there's something in the closet. And we go look in the closet and there's nothing there. And he's like, I'm still scared. I'm still scared.
Yeah.
And so finally I just was so tired at night. I'm like, oh, that's just Dave. So I'm like, just say, hey, Dave. And so every time he got scared, he's like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm like, oh, hey, Dave. And he'd be like, oh, hi, Dave. We just go to bed.
It worked. I like it.
Yeah, it did. It's just Dave.
Yeah. Haley, when we lived in Payson, actually, in the house I bought for my parents, she had a friend ghost that she would talk about sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. And there were multiple people who were like, she told me about a friend that's a ghost. I'm like, yeah, I know. And apparently she didn't come with us here. She stayed there. So
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I don't know. Haley has such, like, even still, her imagination, like, she loves any type of role play things and stuff like that. It's just totally her thing. So I could also see her just, having this very vivid imagination of a thing, but it freaked a couple people out.
Yeah. Well, there's some kids. Have you ever, I don't know, there's kids that have like been talking and playing and they're like, oh, it's just grandpa. And it's a grandparent they've never met and they can pick him out of a lineup in a group of photos. And I should do a podcast on this because there's, okay. I think some kids are just in tune. Some kids make up a lot of weird shit, but
yeah. See,
I think are in tune.
I'm so like hyper doubtful. Like I always feel like they're just like stories that people have just been telling, but I would love to hear them all and maybe convince me.
Okay. Maybe I'll put one together on that because I'm not fully convinced either, but I really like hearing the stories and like being like, maybe.
Okay, you want to do that next week?
Yeah, if Mike and Corey aren't on next week, then we will.
Okay, yeah. Whenever the next one is, we should do that.
Okay.
So you can do a story time.
So it should be fun. I like that kind of stuff, even if it's total bull.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun. Yeah, and thanks for letting me, because I think I needed to get this out of my head too, because I watched it and
I had stories like that.
You know what I mean? Where I was like, okay, and like I felt like it needed to be repeated because I'm like, more people need to like think about shit like this, but then so they can be upset like me and do nothing.
But if there's enough of us to get upset, somebody's gonna figure it out.
I hope more Claire Patterson's. I guess I don't know what he did other than draw attention to it, but then you have to draw attention to it before anybody can take action. So yeah, because
the people who should take action on it will not, because they're benefiting from it.
Action has been taken because we have unleaded gasoline, but we need further action. We need to continue to act and not make one leap of progress and then be like, oh God, we did it, because it's a lot of work to get anything to change. But there's always someone trying to fight things changing because they want to keep the status quo just because it was the status quo.
That's how things have always been done.
I know.
Who am I to
change? But I remind
it?
you, everything is made up. Literally everything.
So weird.
It just is. So question everything. I think that's what all these, like, the whole, you've always heard that, the question everything, but it's like such a broad like thing.
Sounds exhausting.
But now I kind of get it, because I'm like, everything you think that was like, this is the way we do it. Now it's like, why is that the way we do it? I mean, even with like everybody getting up in arms about like, and maybe this isn't an issue as much there, but about like the whole gay in schools and stuff like that, like what you can't talk about, like you shouldn't be teaching your kids that. And then now I keep seeing all these funny things where it's like, my teacher was talking about her sexuality with me. She has a husband and kids, like you will not push your heterosexuality on me. Like, and it's like, if you think about it like that, these things we've always talked about it, but we've excluded people. We've just said this is the only one and only way because that's the way it was. And really it wasn't.
Yes.
People have always existed as different, but somebody created a script and we're still so busy trying to make everybody fit into a stupid fucking script, that is made up. Like
somewhere along the line, we decided what normal was and who lies in it and who lies without.
Yeah.
Without outside.
And then within also just questioning all the things that we consume and yeah.
Yes. What we've been sold and what we I was gonna say bite off, whatever we choose. It's there for a reason. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's like I just like ran out of words or something. I was just like blank slate. I was like, I just forgot what I was talking about.
It's all good. It's all good.
I think it's because literally I looked down and I've had like words there the whole time and I was like, oh no.
Now I got to come up with my own words.
I don't know.
This is a problem.
Well, and really I haven't been like, we've been not talking about Midgley for a while now, but I would look down and just come back up. And this time I looked down and I'd moved my papers and it broke my brain. Anyway.
Oh, well, I'm terribly sorry your brain has broken.
Oh, that's all right. I guess that just means it's time to end.
Probably. It feels like we've only been talking for like 5 minutes, but anybody watching this is probably like, nah, it's been longer.
Anyway. Oh yeah. No, it's been like 45, 50 minutes. So, and we do ramble quite a bit. So
we do. And I like us.
Yeah, I like us too. So yeah, yes, if not Mike and Corey next week,
we'll do some kids with some
kids.
Yeah.
What is
creepy and wild imaginations.
Or kids being little not psychics, like in touch with spirituality or something, or
just feeling a little something. There's stories about kids who can remember past lives. And I like thinking about that a little bit.
And I've heard a lot of those too, but I always hear the same ones from people. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, so there's those. Now, if this is real, are there more, or is it just these?
That's it. Just these two.
Yeah. Still cool, but I think, I want to be convinced though. So convince me there's something more.
Well, I have to convince myself too, because right now they're just cool stories, and I'm not gung ho on the whole. This is the way it is, but
no, it'll be interesting though, and they're fun stories nonetheless. So
they make you think. So
kinda, sweet.
And if not, they're entertaining for a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. All right. Well, thanks for letting me get that off my chest, I guess.
No problem. I enjoyed it mightily.
Yeah, and then we will actually do a real true crime one though, because I gotta delve into the lives of these girls so I can Bailey Siri in it.
Okay.
Granted, I don't think I could take up enough time, so you might have to have one too. Oh.
Okay, we'll do it. Sweet. I'm good,
awesome.
and I really like the sleeve idea because
it was yours.
Sarah's. Well, Sarah's been coming home with sleeves on every day. Like, she just draws something new every day, and I think they should be showcased because she usually does a really, really good job.
Yeah, and I think it would just be fun to make Bella come in and do the same. She just doodles on herself. It's not a full sleeve, but there's always doodles. So it'll be fun.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fun to see what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love you. I'll talk to you next week.
Love you too.
Lilas.
Always good to talk to you.
You too.
Lilas.
Bye.
See ya.